Welcome to Night Shift Horror Stories, where I share my passion with telling horror stories. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to be the first to see my videos. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. I used to work for an auditing company. Lots of late nights, 2 a.m. or later. Working overnight was not uncommon. Our office tower was the first true skyscraper built in that city and was the tallest building around for many years. Naturally, it became a popular spot for suicides for many years. It was really haunted. During the day when office workers were everywhere, it was pretty much normal. Late at night after 11 p.m., the building would feel very different. The way that office worked is that lowly audit employees like us didn't have assigned desks, but had 3 rows of long tables, 4 floating stations. We faced each other with a divider lengthwise across the middle of the tables, so 6 rows of seating. Teams often worked late, and even after midnight it was common for 1 or 2 teams to be in the office. For some strange reason, even if we started the evening spread out across all the rows, we would end up clustered together on the last 2 rows by the end. The seniors experienced plenty of stuff and some became pretty numb to it. Seniors would insist we all leave together, accompany each other to the toilets, even the guys, and that no one was to work late alone. One time it was only my team of 4 working late, past 1 a.m. at that point. We're busy typing away at our laptops, flipping through papers, occasionally leaning back in our chairs to ask a question. We started hearing typing coming from a different corner of the office. It started when we started and stopped when we stopped. Spooked, the senior said to ignore it and quickly finish up. We hurriedly pick up the pace and do our best to ignore the phantom typing. After that, we start to hear rustling paper and small thumps getting louder, like files or documents being dropped on a table. We're getting freaked out now. The office seems dark even though it's brightly lit, and there's this terrible feeling in the air. Without saying a word, we start packing our stuff, because we're not paid enough for this. Suddenly the lights above the rows in front of us flicker and we all gasp in fear. We're staring wide-eyed at the front rows when one of the office chairs turns and rolls from pretty much the left side to the right side of the office. We ran out of the office. Forget the laptops and papers, we just grabbed our phones, keys and etc., and we ran out of there. Didn't even turn off the lights. And then we were back in the office the next morning like nothing happened. I made it a point to leave by midnight after that. I'd rather work on stuff on my bed than stay in the office. I'm the IT guy for our company. We have several locations in our area, one of which is right next door to a funeral home. For years people had told me that it was haunted. People that came in early or worked on Saturdays told me that they would hear and feel strange things. I had not experienced anything until I had to start working there on a more frequent basis. Things started off small. I would hear footsteps behind me, or see things out of the corner of my eye. They were brief and I usually dismissed them as seeing or hearing things. I was still unsure until one Saturday. I was having to do some major upgrades, so instead of having everyone bogged down during production, I decided to come in on Saturday. At most, there are only 2 to 3 people here and they usually leave by noon. I began my work after they had all left and was actually enjoying having the building to myself. I was at the back office when I began to hear what sounded like a woman's voice coming from the front. I couldn't make out what she was saying as it sounded muffled. I called out and didn't get an answer. I walked towards the front and as I was about to enter the office where I thought it was coming from, it stopped. I looked around and confirmed that I was all alone, so I got back to my upgrades. Later on as I was leaving, I walked by the restrooms and heard someone whistling in the women's bathroom. I pushed the door open and asked if anyone was in there, but it stopped and I didn't hear anyone. When I told everyone about it on Monday, one of them reminded me that a coworker had passed away a few months back. She had been diagnosed with kidney cancer that had spread to her lungs and brain. A friend made the comment, "You know who used to whistle in the bathroom all the time, don't you?" It was probably her. Since then that building has been vacated, but we still have computer equipment there. I have to work there from time to time by myself. I still see and hear things every now and then, but it does not seem to be malicious, so it doesn't bother me. I worked as a system administrator. We were closing down one of our smaller data centers as it was being consolidated into one of our larger ones, but we still had to have at least one person there in case of server issues that had to be dealt with on site. We rotated each week on which one of us would do the overnights there. The place was reportedly haunted, by what I have no idea, just heard rumors from other coworkers when I hired in. So imagine a relatively large open office space that is completely void of all the cubicles, desks, etc. that are normally there, with just one desk and a few random cables hanging from the ceiling. Also, just the lights over my desk were working and bleeding out into my surroundings by about 3 feet. That was where I was for the week. I remember sitting there and just hearing ambient noise from the far-off server room, fans, cooling system, working on a server for a customer of ours and seeing something dart across the room in my peripheral vision. I looked up and didn't see anything, so figured my eyes were just tired from the screen light and making me see like those floaters when your eyes close too tightly. Went back to work, and then about 5 minutes later I saw it again, although this time I heard the bathroom door open and shut, big as heavy door you pulled open and the mechanism at top of door pulled it shut. Thought maybe one of my coworkers was here for a server fix, so got up and went to greet them and wait for them. About 10 minutes pass and no one comes out of the bathroom. I go in to make sure they're not passed out or hurt, since one of my coworkers suffered from seizures, but lo and behold, empty bathroom. Now I'm creeped out. Leave the bathroom and this time see the shadow person thing on the other side of the room dart across again, but looking at it straight on and not from my peripheral vision. Quickly went over and threw the rest of the lights on and started searching the whole office and server room for a coworker, but I never found anyone.